Hello, this is Jeffrey Fox. This is the introduction to the Big Data Applications and Technologies MOOC, or the X-Informatics MOOC, which consists of many units. This particular unit is just the overall discussion of what the course is and how it's set up. It is a standalone one available to everybody on the web. The essential philosophy of this course is described in this slide, which is stating what is we consider to be the big data ecosystem in one sentence, which is that you use clouds, you run data analytics with your collaborative team, you process big data, and you solve problems in X informatics. X informatics can often be called EX. So um, X business is also e business, and so on. I shouldn't have said X business. I should have said business informatics is the same as e-business. Uh, this class is associated with a curriculum of data science. Data science is a very interesting area because there are so many data scientists needed out there. Many people are rushing to put together curriculum in this area. So this slide here is a pictorial demonstration of X informatics. I basically went to the web and found all the values of X I could see. And you can see that quite a lot of them, and they all have, some of them even have relatively pretty pictures. Um, Even at the top here, we have a Dear Colleague letter from NSF from May of 2013. That's where the term finance informatics was found. We have wealth informatics up here, earth science informatics, astroinformatics, climate informatics, visual and decision informatics, energy informatics, as well as the much more well-established biomedical, and health informatics. Here we have sustainability informatics. And the various ones we found are just listed down here on this previous slide. And there are some actually like physics, where clearly physics has a huge area of informatics attached to it, which will even describe. However, that field is, as far as I can see, essentially never called physics informatics, even though it probably ought to be. Now we come to discuss the overall structure of the course. So it's designed as an overview course for a data science curriculum, or as a general course if somebody wanted to get a flavor of data science. That's actually how it started. And it consists of two aspects of data science. It does not discuss all of data science. It discusses the applications and the technologies needed to basically implement those applications, implement X informatics. The technologies consist of somewhat of data analytics. That's the one thing we spend most time on, and also on the infrastructure. You do need some computers, which, as we noted, essentially can be thought of as being in clouds. Not everybody uses clouds, but maybe they ought to, or maybe they will. But logically, clouds are the natural place to run these applications. And here we repeat our wonderful rallying cry. Well, I'm not this wonderful, but it's what we like to say. Use clouds, run data analytics, do it collaboratively, process big data, and you solve problems in your X informatics. We do have some discussion of infrastructure, in particular parallel computing and clouds, and we discuss some aspects of data analytics, but this is not a course on data mining. It's not an official statistics course, although it mentions statistics. And so it just gets you a sort of flavor of data analytics. There is software where the student can use software to do things. And we use two languages, Python and Java. The course is arranged in two separate tracks. This particular track we're doing here is the Python track, which is the first track designed. There is some difference on the implementation. Python can always be run on your local machine. It can also be run on a cloud. And Java, which certainly can be run locally, but is even more natural for a cloud. And for some of the larger Java applications, you might really want to run it on a server side. So here's the overall structure. So it's set up as a MOOC, so-called Massive Open Online Course. It has over 25 units. I refuse to say exactly how many because this allows me to add units and still keep this particular introduction unchanged. A unit is something from 30 to 90 minutes in length, and so it's sort of like a traditional lecture when you set up your course and have lectures 2 or 3 times a week. These units, these lectures we call units, in a rather sort of unambiguous, to be ambiguous and not imply anything. So each of these units, which is broken up into lessons, and the lessons are from 5 to 15 minutes in length. This appears to be traditional in MOOCs, and there are some material which will explain to you why people get bored after more than that time. The homework and mentoring are separate from the MOOC lessons, and as we said, there is software. That software will be indicated later on the course. The courses which involve the lessons and units which involve software, namely software done by the student, indicated in red. And I say we have these 2 tracks, and we do have so-called what I call side MOOCs, although the way this is currently built, they're not particularly identified in any special fashion, but these are little units which describe particular technologies, how to use Python, how to use Java, how to use clouds, and so on. I call them side MOOCs because those particular units can be actually used in multiple courses because they're not particularly specific to this course. We also will give attached to every unit lots of useful resources and some homeworks and things like that. Those resources in today's world are largely taken from the web, and currently there is no book for the course. This slide here lists all the topics we currently have. We have this presentation here, the introduction. After that, we have the motivation. The introduction and motivation available to everybody. You don't even have to register. The motivation is a broad survey of the field, not particularly based on this course. It was a seminar I put together for a particular event, and it's called Big Data in the Cloud, Centerpieces of the Future Economy, which is sort of why you're doing this class, because you want to get a great job, and we know there are lots of jobs here and more jobs in some other areas. So the real class starts with these 3 units called Introduction, what is Big Data, Data Analytics, and X Informatics. And then after that, we have the side MOOC, which is on Python. This key parts of Python we will need is NumPy, numerical Python, SciPy, scientific Python, and Matplotlib, which is the part of the Python library which does nice plotting. And whenever you have data, you better look at it, because who knows what your silly data analytics did, unless you look at the answer and see if it's sensible. After that, we have our first set of units, or the first value of X, which actually uses Python to do some interesting things. Here we have X equals LHC analysis and discovery of the Higgs particle, or equivalently X equals physics, or this is physics informatics. This involves the technologies used to do the types of analysis of high energy physics data. And these are called event exploration approaches, histograms, models, and some base statistics, what errors you have and things like that. After those 4 units, which are sort of a self-contained set, we have a side MOOC, which is not actually software you have to write. It's software you could use. It's not essential, because I will use it during the lectures. It's called PlotViz. It's downloadable from a web link given, and it's used for displaying points in 3 dimensions. And we like points in 3 dimensions because the eye can see things in 3 dimensions. And you can say, well, most data of importance is not in 3 dimensions. Well, that's certainly true. However, You better look at that data even if it's not in 3 dimensions. So you use technology called dimension reduction to manipulate that data so it ends up in 3 dimensions. The only time you don't do that is if the data starts off in 2 dimensions. After that side MOOC, which is the last side MOOC of this track, we have 3 units devoted to e-commerce and lifestyle informatics. And that covers things like Amazon, Netflix, and very well-known websites like that. Some of the core data analytics of that are called recommender systems, collaborative filtering, and the k-nearest neighbor algorithm. We also look, as we do several times, at clustering. Clustering is used in many cases. It's not really the probably the most central technology for this problem because but we do discuss it. And we also mention some issues about general heuristic methods. It's important to know that in all of this type of data science, you're not trying to get the exact answer because the data is not exact, so there's not a lot of point in trying to make the answer exact from inexact data. You want an answer that's good as the data can give you. Following that discussion of technologies, we go back to a sort of core unit on parallel computing, which is a rather very, very high-level discussion of that field. After that, we have 3 units on cloud computing technology and how it's applied to X informatics. This is by no means a sophisticated and deep and thorough discussion. There is another class in our data science curriculum which does cloud computing in a far better fashion. You should go to that one. After that, we have another value of X, web search and text mining and information retrieval. And again, there are technologies how to identify, how to do highly reliable web search. Actually, it doesn't tell you how to do as reliable web search as you'll get today. The web search we get today is so magnificent, it's rather difficult to see how anybody could do it, but they do. And after that, we have a set of core technologies. And the core technologies we have are k-means, which is a clustering algorithm, which we now go into detail, give the software, fool around with it a little. Then we have MapReduce, which in this class we do not do. Again, you have to go to that cloud computing class to do it properly. We just discuss it in a very broad fashion. We follow this by discussing how to take k-means and use MapReduce to it. We do not actually use a real MapReduce in this particular lecture, but just a partial MapReduce, which well, not a partial MapReduce, I should say a screwed up MapReduce, which illustrates all the features of MapReduce, but runs it sequentially, not as MapReduce should do, running it in parallel. After that, we do a very simple example of which is again done much better in the cloud course of PageRank as an example of cloud computing and web search. Finally, we have 3 units which cover somewhat more briefly than the previous units, 3 values of X, health informatics, sensor informatics, and radar informatics devoted to remote sensing.